no judgment, which I think everyone is appreciating as they're sharing in the box about their finances. Frustrated, frugal, that's a great word. I'm feeling quite frugal this week. It's been my mission to spend less money. So yeah, frugal is a great word. Okay, let's introduce our expert, shall we? Makala Green, a highly successful financial expert, motivational speaker and wealth coach who worked her way up from a cashier position at 16 to becoming the UK's first Black female chartered financial planner with an extraordinary record of success. Makala has transformed lives and businesses working with entrepreneurs, sports people, professionals and multi-million-pound companies, and knows how empowering it is to be in control of our finances. Makala understands how managing our money can change everything for the better. And in this workshop, she's going to reveal some of her strategies for creating a strong, stable and future-proof money mindset, whatever your current financial position. So wherever you're at right now, however you're feeling, whatever you've just shared in the chat box, don't worry, wherever you're coming from, today we're going to give you some strategies to help get you to the next stage. So thank you, Makala, for being here, and welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the warm welcome. It's a pleasure to spend this Monday evening with you all. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next hour.
What's the most common answer you get when you ask a group of people how they feel about their finances?
Yes, it's always a bit of a mixed bag, and I expect that. And I like to hear a bit of a mixed bag as well, because, you know, everybody has a different journey with money. Nobody's journey is the same. And that's why there's no blame and no shame around it, because we all experience different things. And so, yeah, I expect to see that. I expect to see shock and horror and frightened. You know, I expect to see those things because I hear that a lot. Right. I like to hear the word frugal. That's quite an interesting one. So
yeah,
well done to whoever mentioned that.
And so it sounds like nothing phases you, so that's good. That's good to know. No. This is a judgment-free zone, everyone. Reminder. Yeah. So how are you and where are you today? I was going to ask, usually we ask what's a typical day in your life, but I know the book literally came out at the end of last week, so probably a different kind of time for you right now.
Yeah, I suppose, you know, typically it's been an absolutely mad week, but in a really good way. I've been really busy, you know, excuse me, I'm a bit bunged up as well, but I've been really busy working things around the book, and that's been really exciting. You know, all these new things. I am a new author, it's my first book, and so all of that's quite great. In a typical day, you know, my role as a chartered financial planner, wealth coach is really about helping individuals and business owners achieve and realize their financial goals. So for many, this is an issue, and it first really starts off with taking control of their money. And, you know, one of the major things I find is stripping away that shame and that blame that is often plagued around money, and really just getting down to the nitty-gritty in terms of what's important to you, what do you need to achieve, and how can I help you get there? So those are the key things that covers my typical day, and that ranges, you know, in different mediums. It could be from seeing somebody face to face, it could be writing blogs, you might see me on social media, you know, creating content. I'm all about putting it out in as much ways as possible to help the nation as a whole take control of money, because it's something that we all struggle with.
Yeah, it's such a massive part of everyone's lives, isn't it? And it doesn't need to be this awful, horrible subject, but a lot of us do shy away from it. So I really like the idea of you help people wherever they're at. So it's not about everyone wanting to become a millionaire. I think I shared a quote from you earlier today, and it's about the idea of wealth is about being options. It's not just about the actual the number of zeros at the end of your bank account. And I really like that. So I think this group especially will really resonate with that. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your story then? I touched on it then. So working your way up from age 16 cashier, which we'd love as well. So tell us a little bit about how you got where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. I've gone through the non-conventional route, should I say, to becoming a financial planner. But I think that's part of what makes everything special and makes me unique in terms of helping individuals achieve their needs. Because when I started off at 16 in the bank, for me, it was a whole new world, you know, finance, money, everything was brand new to me. Although I had a passion, you know, for just money and numbers, it was a passion of mine, but it was all new and I went into new grounds. But what I came across was the fuel of, you know, disappointment and kind of almost embarrassment and shame that money brought around. And that was quite new to me. You know, I'd never experienced, I thought money made everybody happy, you know, and it was all this plain sailing thing. And that was me as kind of like a naive 16-year-old. But, you know, it came across that many people struggled, you know, with finances. And I was exposed to a lot of that at the age of 16. And then, you know, I progressed and I worked more closely with people as a personal banker. And then I became a mortgage advisor. And then again, I became aware of new struggles that people faced in terms of, you know, struggling to get onto the property ladder and credit scoring affecting your ability to, you know, get a mortgage and things like that. And then it was always a dream of mine to become a financial advisor. And I became a financial advisor at 21. So it was 5 years on from when I first started off in the bank. And that for me was just when I first got the job and I met my first client, I was like, this is it. This is where I want to be for life. You know, and it was like a journey like that. And it was my first opportunity where I felt I was able to help, you know, individuals in many more ways than one. And, you know, whether it was, you know, getting them started with investing, saving, you know, protecting their families, all these kind of areas which I cover. It was the first time I realized I was able to help people in much more ways, you know, and have a greater impact in people's lives over the long term. Because I think without sitting down with somebody like myself, not many people sit down and put a financial plan in place. And this is the issue. Nobody thinks about, oh, where do I want to be, you know, 5 years, 10 years from now? And I suppose we'll touch a bit upon that a bit later on in the session. But nobody generally, the feedback I get from clients is, oh, I never would have sat down with myself and done this, you know. So it's quite a rewarding experience, you know, just going through that with clients. And then now that I've been in the industry, you know, just over 18 years, I've been able to see those goals that I set with earlier clients, you know, materialize. And it's just such a satisfying feeling to be able to experience that. So yeah, that's kind of my journey. I went on and then, you know, got recognized as the first Black female chartered financial planner in the UK. And that for me was kind of like the big wake up call that, you know, I want to be out there doing more. I want to be encouraging, you know, more young females to just embark on careers, number one, in financial services, because there's so much more needed, but also just being confident about their finances. And I felt that, you know, there's not enough women in the forefront from a financial professional point of view, just putting the word out there that this is how it's done. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be fueled with jargon. It's something that we all relate to because we all use money every day. And this is how I can help, you know, and just empowering females, you know, males as well, but in general, to just embark on that journey. And that's kind of been, yeah, my kind of journey here today.
Amazing. Well, we're happy you're here. And I love the word, yeah, empowering. It's so, yeah, it can be so empowering to take control of stuff, isn't it? That's just, like you said, actually sit down and plan. Like we're great at setting goals in self-help, but quite often they're goals about like your dream life or kind of how you want to be feeling about things. But I'm probably guilty of this as well, of not actually sitting down and being, you know, the realistic planning. It's more the kind of like, one day this will happen, it will all just come in. So first of all, what would you say your relationship to money is currently? What would your emoji face be?
What would my emoji face be? Interesting. Love it. My emoji face would be, I suppose, with money is quite a complex thing, and not all the time you're able to describe it with one emoji face, and that's fine. But I would say the emoji face actually would be excited. Just because, and that's not because, you know, my bank account is saying excited, but it's just excited in the sense that, you know, I feel, going back to what we're going to cover today, you need to have that positive attitude towards money and have that kind of feeling. I feel what you put out, there's like this saying, isn't there? What you put out in the world is what you kind of receive back. And I think if we have these negative emotions about money, and don't get me wrong, I know there's a lot of things that came up with the comments, and it's fine to have them. But I think going forward, if we have these negative emotions with money, it's kind of like, that's how it's reflected reflects the way that we manage and deal with our money as well. So I've always got that optimism, kind of aspect when dealing with money. And I've found in my own personal journey that has really helped, so I try and inspire clients to do the same as well, because I just feel that it does have an impact. It might not be in the short term, but over the long term, if you're able to build that more positive attitude towards money, I will find you do find that definitely, it has that that positive outcome.
Definitely excited. I like that. It's potential, isn't it? It's potential. There's like so infinite potentials. Like we talk about this about just life generally. So then my second question at the moment is, what do you? This is not a book about manifesting and abundance in that kind of respect, but what do you think about that idea? So it's what you put out comes back to you, but you're a bit more about the practicalities as well. So kind of maybe combining the positive mindset with the practicalities of looking at your situation and taking control of it, would you say?
Yes, absolutely. I definitely feel there's elements of that in the book as well, but because I think you need that bit of balance, you need that abundance, you need that money mindfulness, but then you also need to know the practicalities as well to adopt the right actions when it comes to money. So I think it's having that clear picture, and the book gives you that clear picture of what those financial routes are, but also just, offer, again, going back to that no blame, no shame, and giving those actionable steps, because I think a lot of the time it's quite easy to, even when you do know the practical things to do, to forget to put these actions in place. And then forget to consistently do them on a regular basis. And I think, again, that's what it is. And it's kind of cementing that in. So it's having that feeling, of manifestation. And funnily enough, that's kind of been my slogan for signing the book, let the money manifestation begin. Because I just think that is where, it all starts with something as simple as that.
Definitely. So let's talk a little bit then about this, a money mindset and what it is and how it's created. I mean, I'm imagining, and from all the stuff we read and that I'm learning, because like money is definitely a kind of value. This is a big part of the work I do on myself. So it comes from childhood a lot. This is what I'm learning. So would you agree with that? That basically you kind of, like you said earlier, you thought money made everybody happy when you were 16, and I really liked that. But I was writing notes before, and I thought what my blockers and how they've happened. And in my house, money was actually not great, because it meant bad things. Because as soon as my parents started making money, that's kind of when things went wrong in my little kid head. So I think actually looking at it now, it's like, I'm very much like push it away, because then that's when it's like almost sinister. There's like something wrong with it. So obviously I on a conscious level, I know that's not correct, and I want to be calling it in because I want to do good stuff with it. But I wonder if you can tell us a bit about where the mindsets come from, and then how whether it's possible to change them, I suppose, if it's not so positive to start with.
Yeah, I definitely feel that it stems from your foundation and your values that you learn around money, and the myths and things you believe around money. It stems from, what you was taught growing up, whether that be from your parents, whether that be from schools, which generally you don't learn much about money in school. So it definitely normally stems from, your household. And I think it's interesting that you mention about that, because I feel mine was the flip. And so I felt that I never had much, I know my parents worked really hard, but I felt that there wasn't much money growing up. And so I always felt that, if people had a lot of money, it made them happy. And that's kind of where my kind of naivety stemmed from when I was 16. But I do feel that, it's one of those things where, regardless of what your money mindset is, from what you've learned from the foundation growing up, is something that can be changed with regular practices. So even if you do have a negative mindset, and things that happened in the past has stemmed on and led you to believe, money's the root of all evil. Many of us hear, terms like that, and I think those things have negative impacts on the way we think and feel about money. And I think it's important that people do understand you can do away with those myths. And again, it's not an overnight practice, but with regular practices put in place, you can actually take steps and start to create the positive money mindset, like things like, money mindfulness and financial affirmations. These kind of things train the mindset, because again, your psyche, a lot of money is to do with psychology, so it's what you're kind of feeding your brain to actually remove these unnecessary, negative money mindset thoughts, and just create something more positive.
Yeah, I'm really trying to kind of look at examples of people who've earned money and do good things with it, just in that kind of like expander kind of way of seeing, trying to flip it like that. It's harder than you think, because people can be quite private about it as well, can't they, at certain levels?
Yeah, no, that's so true. And that's why I'm all for being open with money from people, especially people who are successful, hearing about what the highs and the lows and everything in between. And that's kind of what my podcast really just shines a light on, because it's just like, we always hear about the glossed over success stories, but nobody ever really touches upon what struggles that successful person went through, to get there. And so that I find that's quite important. But it's almost as if as well, you hear about stories where people are very rich, they win the lottery, or they've come into lots of money, and then all of a sudden you hear they're broke or they've gone bankrupt. And again, I believe a lot of that is to do with their money mindset as well, because their mindset possibly tells them that I'm not meant to be rich, and I'm not meant to have money. And it's so easily then to just frivolously spend without realizing it, because that is what your negative money mindset is telling you.
We covered a book called Happy Sexy Millionaire by Stephen Bartlett, who's one of the dragons.
Love it.
And it was so funny because and him and then other people of his kind of like status, I suppose, it's you kind of, I think a lot of the feedback was, well, it's easy to say money's not the answer when you're a millionaire. So it's like, so we kind of all need to kind of like get there to realize it's not actually that, it's not about the making the millions, is it? It's about, like you said, kind of having the mindset around it to enjoy it and do good things with it. And right back at the beginning, you talked about what are your goals, like how, and money's one way to help you get there, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Most goals do have some form of financial ticket associated with it. And I think that's why I'm so, hot on setting goals, because most people's goals have a price tag. And so it's kind of like, well, if you can identify and map out what your goals are when you want to achieve them, it's much easier to work out, what you need to do now in order to achieve those goals in future.
Yeah. So we can write the check from The Secret, but we should also have a plan of how we're going to.
Absolutely. Always plan. Always plan.
Okay. Should we do some of the exercises then? Because I think the first one we were going to look at actually was.
What have we got?
Well, first of all, we were going to look at what does money mean to me? So guys, these exercises are from I think it's one of the first chapters from the book, and it's Mind Over Money. And this is all about the kind of mindset. So grab a pen and paper, and we're going to go through 3 exercises now. Makala's going to talk us through them. And then please share in the chat box as you go as well if you've got any insights or aha moments. That'd be awesome.
Brilliant. So I'm mindful that not everybody has a copy of the book. Hopefully you will have one.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah. The second chapter really explores about mind over money. And it's important that we understand what money means so we can use it in the right way and tackle the issues at hand. So I think just from the little exercise we did at the beginning and asked everybody, what emoji would you say? What's your emotions around money? I haven't had a look at the comments, but I saw them kind of coming in, and there was different answers for everyone. And that just proves, everybody has different perceptions about money. But I think that is the first key to understand what money means to you. So, when you're handling money from day to day, the best ways to handle it based on how you think and feel about money. So if you had myths, like if you heard money myths growing up that kind of gives you a feeling where it's holding you back from achieving your financial goals, I would say jot them down. Jot down whatever those goals, whatever those kind of myths are that you feel has kind of been restricting you from achieving these financial goals. Make a note of them, be aware of them. So whenever they kind of crop in your head, you can kind of say, well, hold on a minute, I've crossed that off my list. I've said that is something I no longer want to accept in my life. But there is on page 21, it's kind of take a moment and just think about just three things, and take a moment, think about and write down, if you've got a pen and paper, 3 answers of what money means to you. Now, it could be anything. It doesn't matter what it is. It's entirely up to you. Just take a moment and write down 3 things. Because there's a quote there just below as well. While you're doing that, I'll mention the quote. It says, "It isn't the money that matters. It's how you use it that determines its true value." And I think that's just so key when you're thinking about, how you use money. If you are a bit of a spender, then it's generally, you've got a feeling about money. Like sometimes people say, well, you can't go with it. When you die, you're not going to be able to leave the money behind. And somebody with that kind of mindset generally is more likely to spend than want to save. And somebody who has feelings around money, like money is something that's going to empower my future goals, and it's going to help me achieve, whatever it is that you may have in mind, whether it's buying a property, clearing debt, you would be more willing to save. Now, whatever your money, whatever you've wrote down as your 3 kind of points of what money means to you, then take a moment and then write down what 3 things you would like money to mean to you in future. So wherever you are now, that's not the be all and the end all. It doesn't have to be the way you feel going forward. So how would you like money to make you feel? And what would you like money to do for you kind of in future? So yeah, just 3 points there. Yeah, I think that kind of covers that one, unless you wanted to explore something more on the what does money mean to me?
No, I think that's good, because we'll probably be able to make some affirmations out of this, won't we, at the end?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
when we kind of like look at I think it's good to look at what it means to us now and be honest about that.
Yes.
And then be able to say what we want it to mean. So the first thing I wrote down for what I want it to mean is, like you said, a ticket to my goals.
Okay.
Because I love setting a goal. I love a goal setting list. So actually, if I can put a financial ticket on that, or price ticket on it, then that makes a lot of sense. Money is my way to make an impact, and money is easy to manage, I've written, because I think I find it in my head. I'm like, if someone gave me £1 million tomorrow, I wouldn't know what to do with it. Like so I don't like the idea. I'm a bit like I'm definitely shying away from it, rather than being like, give me the money.
Yeah, I love that. That leads us nicely on to the financial goal setting.
Right.
So hopefully we all like a bit of a challenge, and setting goals and targets is a great way to motivate ourselves towards achieving our future goals. Now, too often it's not the money that actually holds us back, but our inner thoughts and feelings, about what we think and feel we can't do, like the limitations that we have, such as, I wouldn't know what to do with £1 million. So many people kind of put off planning because they feel, well, I haven't got the money, I haven't got the money, so I'm not going to plan. Well, you should, ideally, if you plan, I feel the money comes a lot more easier, because you know what you're looking out for. It's kind of like, what you're setting out to achieve, and when it does hopefully land on your pocket, on your lap, the £1 million, then you know exactly what to do with it, and you're not kind of flustered, because it was all in your plan to start off with. So don't be afraid to dream big when you're setting your financial goals. Never limit yourself. But what you must do is set manageable tasks and manageable steps in order to achieving those goals. So the goal might sound like it's completely out of this world and there's no way you're ever going to achieve that. But I think if you break it down into simple steps and say, well, it might take, it could take 20 years, I don't know, for you to achieve £1 million, but break down how you could do that over the next 20 years. It's achievable, it can be done, it has been done. So kind of setting those kind of things, and it might not be the £1 million, let's bring it more to reality. It could be, getting out of debt. It could be building an emergency fund. It could be buying your first home or second property. And it could be building a pot for retirement, or contributing more towards your retirement. So whatever those goals may be, I want you to think of 3 goals, but make one of them. When you set your goals, you should always, separate them into needs and dreams. So again, you mentioned something earlier on, and you said, a lot of the goals that we've been setting are just dream goals, but I think if you establish what's a need goal and what's a dream. So ideally, it might be the need goal. If you've got debt, I need to get out of debt. That's an absolute must. And I need to get out of debt by next year, if we're going to set the time scale. And then the dream goal might be, I'd love to have £1 million. I'd love to live in a mansion. I'd love to live in, I don't know, wherever it is, Hampstead or whatever you might have is your dream goal. But then I think you want to set the need ones and establish the difference between the two. Once you have identified your need and your dream goals, you need to prioritize. So which one goes on top? What's goal number 1, goal number 2, and goal number 3? Now, the important part of prioritizing is helping you, shift your mindset. Again, it's part of that positive mindset. It helps shift your mindset into actually goal 1 is quite achievable, and it gives you that momentum. I can achieve this, and then you're moving next on to goal 2 and goal 3, which might be the dream goal. So I want you to set 2 need goals and 1 dream goal for your third.
Is a yellow convertible car a need goal?
I'll let you decide.
I mean, I do need to get around town, so.
Well, yeah. If you need to get around town, you can pop that in the need. But yeah, I mean, prioritize. Prioritizing is really important. After you've prioritized, it's about setting the time scale. So if you don't set, like, a goal is just a dream unless there is a time scale attached to it. And if you don't set a time scale, it's almost as if the goal has no meaning. There's no oomph in the goal that you've set. So you need to say, well, I want to achieve, and be quite precise. I want to get that yellow car by October 2023. Set the month, if you can, set the date and write it down. If you've got a diary or your phone, put it in your phone and say, I've bought my first property on X, Y, and Z date that you've set. Put it in your diary, because again, that just gives you that momentum. It gives you something that you're working towards, rather than just, oh, I've set this goal. Okay. And then the last final step with setting goals is actually mentioning what that price tag is. And I think that's what really brings it down to being precise and identifying and actually, pinpointing what those goals are. So you've now said, okay, I want to achieve buying a property. It might be by, in the next year or 2 years. And basically I need to achieve a deposit of £20,000, and then it's breaking it down to, okay, how many months have I got to save this? And then you'll go back to your finances and look and see, how doable is this? If it's not doable within the timescale that you've set, it might mean, increasing the timescale, or it might mean contributing more money towards your goal. I always find I'm always able to find some form of way to shave down people's timescales on their goals, which they find absolutely fantastic. because I just think, again, it's the trick that a lot of people don't do. So I get people that they say, you know, I'm saving to build my emergency fund, I'm saving to buy a property. And because they haven't set the time scale, they really don't know what they should be saving. But once you've identified that, it's easy. The goal that you think that you can't achieve until 5 years suddenly becomes a goal that you can achieve next year, you know, because if you've got the sum of money to do it, why not contribute and achieve it in a year rather than 5? So I think setting the time scale is so key, and then identifying what the actual amount is and just working backwards. So that's a key thing for identifying the goals.
Sure.
How's that?
Guys, does anybody want to share any of their goals, their needs or their dream goals? Also, Makala, I just wanted to let you know that I've started, because I've got my Monzo account now, so I've started doing little pots, and I'm naming them things. Yeah, so I'm doing pots, and
that's in the book.
So I've got. Is it? Okay, great.
Yeah,
haven't got that far yet.
I'll see.
But one of mine is like the Miami fund, and so one of my friends is having his 40th birthday party in Miami because why not? Why wouldn't you? Obviously, that's like going to a party in Miami wouldn't normally be my top of priority probably, but it's happening. It's happening in July, so now I've made the pot, so it's so good to be able to see it. So when I'm thinking about spending or saving, you know, as the money comes in, it's just like, well, I'm going, so it's like this pot needs to get full somehow. So it just requires, like you say, shaving off things from other areas. But if I didn't have it there, it's like that visual reminder. And if I hadn't planned it, and I'm not planning it, then it would be easy just to be like, yeah, I'll go on holiday, or yeah, I'll put some money aside, you know, at some point. So yeah, definitely agree with that.
And that removes, speaking on that removes the blame, and that removes the guilt, because you can now spend guilt-free, because you know, actually the goal that I want to achieve, I've got a separate pot for that, so whatever money I've got left over, you know, I can spend, you know. And I think that sometimes we feel guilty because we're spending our goals money because it's just not organized. So I think, yeah, definitely, if you can separate the pot. It's on page 72, so it shows all the different pots that you can separate.
Yeah, I love it. So let's see what people are saying. What are we going to be doing this time next year, everyone?
Emergency fund, Katie mentioned.
Lots of travel.
Buying a flat in Portugal, love it.
So Colette's saying, does it need to have an amount attached to it? Can it be, I need financial freedom? I think what you're saying is you should really, if you can get as specific as possible.
Yeah, I think when you mention financial freedom, what does that mean? So financial freedom for everyone is different. So financial freedom generally means that you can, your standard of living is maintained without you having to get up out of bed, which is just a joy for most people if you can achieve something like that. But again, it's like, okay, well, what does your standard of living cost? You know, if it's 2,500 or whatsoever it may be, then you need something that's bringing in that amount each month in order to allow you to create financial freedom. And then it's also making sure that you've got that, you know, backup plan as well, because if that, for instance, say that's a rental property and it's bringing in that amount of money, but a tenant decides not to pay, you know, how do you then maintain your standard of living? But I think overall, as a nutshell, it is still working out what that figure is and what you can do to achieve that figure. So don't just keep it as financial freedom, drill it down.
And that's really important as well. It's kind of what is your cost of living? So if financial freedom meant to you to leave a job or to maybe go down part-time, for instance, so you had more time with your family or more time to spend on other stuff, then it's like you need to work out exactly what's coming in and what's going out. And then I think that's a bit that kind of scares people, isn't it, almost? Because it's like we put it off for so long that it's like this big like monster. Was that just me?
It does. No, it
Anyone
does.
Relate?
It puts off so much people, and I hear it all the time. But I think find a way that it becomes enjoyable. So whether if it's just too much for you to do on your own, speak to an expert. You know, speak to somebody who can help you with that and put the tips and practices in place. But I think it's one of those things, kind of like I was speaking this morning, it's kind of like setting that money date with yourself, or with a friend, or you could do it with your partner, you know. And I just think just mapping those things out, it doesn't have to be done all the time, but I think once you have just that clear picture, this is what I want my finances to look like.
Yeah.
And I suppose it leads us on to the next kind of thing, but it's kind of like it's just so much easier. You only need to make slight adjustments as and when things change.
Yeah, definitely. Katie earned €2,000 a month plus. Brilliant. I love that,
Love
Katie.
that.
Get a number on that.
She's got down to the nitty gritty.
Brilliant. Also sharing it, isn't it? Like sharing salaries and stuff like that. It's so yeah, it's just something that we're just not very good at. But how, like, as to your point about kind of like just kind of, you don't need to be doing it all the time. Quite often it's kind of just getting that plan, getting that, like that feeling of when you pay your tax, or you've sent your tax return off, anyone that does it, it's like, it's such a great feeling, isn't it? Like you're poorer, but you're right. But the feeling of control.
Yes.
And you know you're not in trouble, and it's not going to suddenly, you're not going to be surprised. It's like you've taken action and you're kind of moving forward. And I think that's something to remember, that feeling that we talk about this a lot in the club. It's like, how do you want to feel when you wake up? How do you want to feel on a Sunday night before work? It's like, and then kind of turning that feeling into like a tangible number, I think is brilliant.
Yes, no, I love that. And I think the final kind of, or one of the next exercise really helps with that, financial visioning, or financial vision board, as some may call it. So page 32 to 36. So a few questions for you all, and they're rhetorical ones, but I really want to get your brains kind of thinking. So do you want to live a life that represents you? And feel free, actually, if you want to, answer the questions. Release your full financial potential and create a legacy that will outlive you. So I don't know if anybody, on the chat has children, family members and things. And I think a part of us creating money and building these things is because we want to leave something behind as well. And we want to build something for, our children and things like that. And that's great. And I think a lot of these things can only be achieved, again, if you have that clear picture of exactly what you want your future to look like. So yes, it is, going through that painful moment for a moment of time to just really take a look into yourself and say, what do I want in future? What do I want to achieve? So if I can hear you screaming yes to some of the questions that I've just answered, and financial visioning will actually help you increase your motivation, improve your confidence, and even your performance. And, it has been proven many times. Now, when I talk about financial visioning, it's always been something that has worked well for me. And I've been doing vision boarding from as young as 16, as young as I can remember. I've been doing vision boarding, and I find I feel, number one, because I'm quite a visual person. So I think if you are that type of visual type, it's fantastic. Even if you're not, there's different ways you can do vision boards. So it's great. But I think the key is actually bringing things to life. So again, not just saying, I'd like to, buy that house, buy that flat in Portugal. I'd like to build the emergency fund, or I'd like to create financial freedom. It's bringing it to life and actually making it visible. So you can see it, you can more believe it, you can work towards it. So I break it down into 3 steps. And I first say the number 1 step is the power of choice. So remember, we all have a choice. We have a choice to, believe it or not, manage money the way that we want to. That at least we can control. So we can't control always, what money's coming in and so on and so forth, depending on your work aspect and background and so on and so forth. But we can control how we manage the money that we have. And that's key. So don't be afraid to go ahead and reinvent yourself. Okay, completely. Don't tell yourself, I can't achieve this because I come from this background, or, this is not possible for me. It works well for a friend, but I can't do it. No, not true. So you don't get in life what you want all the time, but you do get in life what you are and the changes you are prepared to make. So I think it's always important to just make that choice and say, do you know what, I am going to achieve financial freedom, and this is when I'm going to achieve it. Now, obviously, you don't want to be disheartened or, disappointed with yourself if you haven't achieved those goals that you've set. But I think you would be so much more in a better position working towards goals that you've set, even if they're dream goals, than not setting anything at all. So always make that choice. Number 2 is the power of visualization. Now, there is a great power about that. I don't know if any of you have ever set out to do something and then told yourself, oh no, actually, I can't do that. Just in life in general, I think we do that sometimes. And we do that with money a lot as well. Again, going back to what you said, I don't like to set the goal of £1 million because it's just like, oh, can I achieve it? What would I do with the money if I get it? So I think it's the power of actually visualizing and believing that you can make it happen and trying to do away with those limiting beliefs. And the third step is the power of commitment. Now, there is a key ingredient in this commitment, because I think you can have all of the other things and you can have everything in place, and if you don't remain committed to this goal and this plan that you've set, it's kind of like you're throwing all your hard work down the drain. So again, I don't know if you ever told yourself, it's too hard, I can't do this, it's not for me. Like, the next time a thought like that comes in your head, again, tell yourself, I can do this, I will do this, and I will achieve, my financial freedom, because you deserve to achieve it. So it's always the power of commitment. And I think sticking to what you've set out to do, if you set those actionable tasks, if you've said in your what money means to you, this is what I'd like money to mean to me. When? If it's next week, then check with yourself next week if that's how you feel about money. If it's not, maybe set yourself another goal. But I think it's just having that commitment to be committed to your goals and your dreams. So vision boarding can include a number of things. It can have pictures. It could be on like Pinterest, where you save a lot of pictures. It might be, kind of Instagram posts that you even save. But I would say, or it could be simply words, should I say, like financial freedom, and just seeing that there. But what I would say is you want your vision board to be in a place where you see it all the time. So wherever you're passing all the time, it might be at the back of your front door, or, if you don't want everyone to see it, it might be, I don't know, in the front of your favorite book, or on the insert of your favorite book, somewhere where you're just always going to stumble across it. And it's like, oh, actually, yeah, I want to achieve financial freedom. Yes, that yellow car, I want to get that, this time next year, the flat in Portugal. You want that regular reminder that this is what I want to achieve. And again, what it does, it subconsciously tells yourself every time you go out and you say, oh, I'm going to buy those nice fancy pair of shoes that is well over my budget. You think to yourself, oh no, the flat in Portugal, I need to buy that, And I think sometimes it just subconsciously helps you manage your money that bit better when you've kind of got these visual things as a reminder in your head every day. So what I would say is write down, again, just 3 things that you would like to include on your financial vision board that you'd like to achieve over the next 5 years. Just 3 things. And again, without limiting yourself of what you want to achieve. And then I would set you the challenge of the homework to then hopefully go away and find a picture or something that represents that or looks quite similar to the 3 goals that you have set. Possibly won't be able to do it now, but yeah, go away and kind of do that. And again, don't set too much goals as well. You want to be able to set an amount that is achievable within a set period of time. So I'd say no more than 10 if you go away and do this task separate to the session.
And Makala, would this be like if people are doing vision boards already? I've got mine here. I'm going to show it you in a minute. Actually,
oh, brilliant.
Do you think a financial vision board is part of a general vision board? Because it's all so. I'm going to grab this one. Hang on a sec. Hopefully, you guys will be able to see it. Okay. So there's my yellow car.
Yes.
My yellow convertible.
Oh wow.
So
okay.
This is like this is my vision board I made this year just on Canva or something like that and printed it out. But would that be a financial vision board? Because obviously I've got like palm trees there, and that might be like more like it's not a specific place, or it's just like a feeling, just kind of
Yeah, I think definitely anything that you can create a price tag out of, you should have a separate kind of noteboard where or notepad where you've made notes and you say the yellow car is going to cost, again, and it's going back to those goals. The yellow car is going to cost X, Y, and Z, and this is the date that I want to achieve it. And then just so that you've got that kind of financial aspect to
Sure.
it. So the vision board is more just to give you that motivation that you can visually see it. But you do, I think, need to jot out things that are separate on there that kind of links it back to the financial aspects and helps you, work towards achieving those goals.
Yeah, cool. I've also got us
Love
on
your
a
vision board.
Piccadilly Circus
It's very
billboard for
neat.
self-help.
You don't want to see my vision board. It's just like completely scattered everywhere.
I did a workshop with David, who's helping us tonight. He did a really good workshop, so I thought I better do my homework.
Right, I love it. And yeah, you can just, some people's vision boards are just words as well. So if it might be something that's empowering you to, I'm sure those palm trees are something. It might be Miami, and you've created the Miami fund already. So it still has some form of financial element attached to it. So I think, even if it is words like financial freedom, great, but then make that separate note as to what does this actually mean to me? But you do want that, just that visual reminder, so you can always see it.
Yeah. So guys, let us know, what are your words? So this could be things like, prosperity, travel, inspiration.
Yeah.
Buy that dream car, money mottos. Yeah, I love it. Also, I really liked what you said about we might not have control over all the money, what the amounts that are coming in all the time, but we always have control over how we choose what we choose to do with it. And that's a self-help. It's one of the basic self-help lessons. It's like the only thing we can ever control is our response to whatever's going on around us. So we are in charge of how we respond to anything, and that includes our financial commitments or the bank account or what's coming in, what's going out. So and also the commitment to yourself. So it's like making that, and that's kind of like, it's taking yourself out of the victim mode. It's like, oh, I never earn enough money, I never get paid enough, things never turn out right for me. It's like flipping that on its head, isn't it? And saying and looking at things that are possible, but also not talking to yourself like that, and not assuming, just because, like you said, not assuming because your parents were bad with money that you'll be bad with money, or not assuming that kind of what you've been modeled is necessarily is correct.
So true. The financial affirmations that's on there. I don't know if you're going over to the final section with the financial affirmations on page 37.
Yeah, well, why don't we do some why don't we help people create some affirmations now? And then guys, if the idea is that you all everyone goes away with some affirmations that they can start saying, from tonight, from tomorrow. You don't need to share, everybody doesn't need to share, but we'd like to see some of them. But while we're going through this, if anyone can think of any questions that they'd like to ask Makala, then we've got 10 more minutes or so, and they can be questions around what we've talked about tonight, or if you have a bit more of a specific question, kind of around investing or saving, or we've got a wealth expert basically on the call, so take advantage of that, right?
Yes, definitely. It can be as wild as you want it to with the financial affirmations, but they are things that you again stumble upon daily. I always say carry your financial affirmations around with you. You can always have it on a piece of paper, or you might have something a bit more fancy, but you'd have it folded, it maybe in your handbag, and even when you're on like a lunch break or something, just have a look at your financial affirmation. Or it might be something you read every morning when you're having your coffee or tea. But again, it's just about helping you open new doors, build new bridges, remove financial stress, and just give yourself a new sense of confidence, security, and freedom. So absolutely. Like things like I am wealthy. I love that one.
Simple.
Just telling yourself, I am wealthy, not I will be, I am.
For anybody that doesn't know about, is new to affirmations, I think probably most of you guys know them if you don't use them yet, but the idea is it's something you say it's a positive thing that you say, and it's in the present tense, isn't it? So it's not I will do, or I'm nearly there. It's kind of like, this is happening now, and it doesn't have to be
Yes.
real. In fact, it
No,
probably
it
isn't, doesn't feel real quite right now, but that the idea is it's something that's going to feel real very soon.
Yes. Have we got any financial affirmations anybody want to share? I am good and great with money. We'll celebrate to that. So one I came up with a couple of weeks ago. My joy comes from people and connections, not things. Love that. Love that. That's quite an interesting
really nice
one.
reminder.
Yeah.
I like this one from the book. My
Yeah.
income is increasing daily.
Daily
like
it is.
Every day.
Every day as I wake up, my income is increasing.
So that idea that it's like I am is quite a powerful, isn't it? I read something the other day as well, and talks about I intend, but actually that's not right here, is it? With the affirmations, it's more it's I am. It's like this has happened already. This is happening. I am
ready, for abundance and things like that. And I think until it becomes to the point that you're not, it's not, a lie anymore. Not so much that it's a lie, but it becomes a reality. Your income is increasing daily, and that's what you kind of want financial affirmations to do. And you want it to get to the point where it does become a reality, and that's when you can move on to your next affirmation. Yeah,
exactly. All right, guys, I'm just going to read out a few more that come from the book. So financial success is mine. I love that. Very dramatic, isn't it? I like that one. Financial success is mine. I am like a money magnet. I am wealthy. Had that one.
Somebody said I am
abundance.
A money magnet.
Amazing. I deserve to be financially free. Brilliant. Yeah, I like that one. I am worthy of financial security. Yeah, because again, like the idea of worthiness and deservingness is tied up in a lot of this stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so true. People do think, I'm not worthy of being rich. And a lot of that, again, possibly stems from background, childhood. Everybody goes through different experiences. But I think the more, again, you tell yourself something like that will help remove a lot of that, negative stigma around money.
Yeah. So guys, a good tip for when you're creating affirmations is to look back at what you said in the very first exercise about what you think, what any kind of negative thoughts you have about money, or thoughts aren't serving you, should we say, and then flip it. So if it was for me, money means bad things will happen. Instead, I would flip it and say I enjoy making money, or something like that. So it's kind of like giving it that positive positive spin. So maybe if you're struggling a bit, look at what you're trying to change, and then kind of create that affirmation.
I love that.
Sue Weston is very polite. Open some more, please.
I'm proud of how I handle money. Love that.
Yeah, Katie, I like that
proud
a lot. I am a money magnet. So the idea is write these out, have them somewhere that you'll see them all the time. I think reading them out first thing in the morning, last thing before you go to sleep, while you're cleaning your teeth.
Yes,
as much as possible until they become true, right?
Yeah. So true.
Okay. Keep thinking on that, guys. And that's it for the kind of exercise part, and the money and our mind over money. So that's from chapter 1 or 2? Chapter 2 in the book. 2. Yeah. And so there's a whole lot of other stuff. That's only chapter 2. There's a whole lot of other stuff, which is a lot more practical. Well, there's a lot of practical stuff in here, like whether it's money and marriage, whether it's about budgeting, saving. I like what kind of money personality are you? Are you a spender, a saver, in between? So if Beaver.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Mix between the spender and the saver.
I'm a spiever until
You're
Friday,
a spiever.
and then I'm just a spender. I think Friday just doesn't count for anything. Food, booze, money. I'm going to reframe that.
You're going to reframe that. Yes.
I'll reframe.
So long as you set up an account for that, I think again, there's no harm in having those, enjoyable Fridays. But I think, it's again having that balance, because sometimes people don't know where to put the limit or draw the line, and then they end up, spending more than they earn, or not having anything left over on a monthly basis for things like saving or committing to their future goals. So I think I'm never one to say, you know, stop everything and just save. That's absolutely ridiculous. I think you definitely want to enjoy life, but everything within reason. So for anything that you do enjoy, set up a separate pot for it, or just set up a pot for enjoyment. That's kind of like anytime you want to go out, socialize, you know, trips to the theatre, whatever it may be, you got your pot there and you've allocated a certain amount of money each month to that pot. But when it runs out within the month,
no more fun.
That's it. No more fun. You have to wait until the month starts again. And I think that's what's absolutely key. And that just helps with financial planning.
Totally. I need a Friday pot.
Yeah.
Excellent advice.
A Friday pot. I like that one.
I love what Colette's written.
Bear with me. I'm here. I think I need to get a charger if we're still
that's okay. We'll be finishing just a few minutes.
Okay. Hopefully we've
got a flashing light. Countdown's on. Okay, guys, you've got a deadline. Any questions? Then let us know in the chat box. Colette says what she wrote down as what money means to her and what she'd like it to mean was the same. So perhaps my money mindset is not too bad after all. You get a gold star, Colette.
Yeah, gold star for Colette.
Tammy has a pot for fun. Brilliant. I suppose do we need a pot for books as well?
Oh yeah. Oh, but if books is part of your fun, you know.
Yeah, I suppose. But, different kind of fun. But
it depends how much you spend on books per month. So yeah, but it can form part of your fun pot. Yeah.
Guys, how much do we all spend on books per month? I wonder. Here we go. Here's a quick question from Shana. Is there anything in the book that mentions money education for children, young children? Or do you have any tips on what to start teaching kids and what age, please? Great question.
Yes. So with the children, I'm just mindful that the battery's going to die. I didn't expect it to go down. But with children, there is a chapter in there about family and money, and it shows you different steps of how to teach children how to value money, because a lot of parents you know, not being to themselves, but they don't understand how to teach children, you know, financial planning. And that's where it just stems, and it's like a roller coaster ride, and it goes on to those children, you know, have negative aspects about money. But I think if we're learning as parents how to teach children the values of money, that is one of the best, you know, presents. I think I put it in the book. That's one of the best presents you can give your child, a foundation of money values. And it gives you bits of steps and breaks it down how you can go about doing that and what kind of works well with them. And also I would say you know, encourage them to, like, you know, even read the book with them and be open about money. Like, I've got a 9-year-old daughter, and literally she read the first page and she was like, Mum, what's financial jargon? How are you going to tell me how to buy a property? You know, she had all these questions that I just never expected, because it's not targeted, you know, for 9-year-olds. But it just goes to show that, you know, they are open, and if they can read, you know, they can understand about elements of the book. So share it with them in the way that you best know how. But it does give tips for parents, definitely.
Brilliant. I mean, that's a great legacy, isn't it? Like we talked about legacy before, about what you want to pass on, but like the right attitude is the start, I suppose, isn't it? If we still got you, we're going to ask one more question.
Okay.
Until we lose you. From Heather. What's the best way to rebuild after a big expense so you don't feel too deprived? So if you spent all your money on a house and don't have much left.
Yeah, good question. Yes, again, there is change in circumstances in the book, because I think that's one of the areas that people rarely talk about much. It's one of the big things that you need to put in place. And I think if you plan ahead again and you set your goals in priority order, you will help avoid situations like that, because again, you've actually funded for buying a property, but at the same time you've been working towards, you know, maybe building an emergency fund, and you didn't completely, you know, deplete your emergency fund at the point of buying the property. Now, I'm aware that might not always be the ideal situation, and you might already have yourself in that position. And I would say, you know, just have that commitment to start from scratch, because if you had it in you to build a property deposit, I think you've got it in you again to just work towards whatever next goal that may be. And I think it's just having that commitment and that drive to go on to your next chapter and your next goal in life.
Yeah, brilliant. We love the quote, we can do hard things on there, which is a Glennon Doyle quote. I can do hard things, and it's like, if you've done it once, yeah, you can do it again, right?
You can
So
do it
I really
again.
like that. Remind yourself of
Yeah.
how strong you are. Yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant. Final question. Final question.
Oh, the battery's loving you guys.
So how do we talk about money in relationships? So how to talk about money. This is from Katie. So that bad habits, secrecy, shame doesn't negatively impact a relationship.
There's a chapter on that. There's a chapter on that. And actually, I make your life so much easier because I put a questionnaire in there for you that you must answer with your partner. And
amazing.
I say, bring along the tissues for all the tears.
Oh,
you
no.
know, but it could either be with a partner or a best friend. I think it's really important just to be open and share some of those questions. If I quickly, to just share some of those questions with those individuals or whoever. I'm trying to see if I can find it. You put me on the spot. I don't think it's in there, but it's in there. And there's like 25 questions, and it's really in-depth ones, you know, speaking about, you know, who inspires you most? What did you spend? What did you pay for with your first paycheck? And just really understanding how that person, you know, manages their money. Because when you're merging your finances with somebody else, it's not just taking on how they value money, but it's also taking on their background and how their parents, you know, taught them how to handle money. So it's not only taking on your own previous past, it's taking on theirs as well, and then somehow merging that together to create some form of harmonious balance. Because I put in there, when the money is not aligned well in relationships, it can cause all sorts of problems. So that was something definitely I really wanted to include in the book, to just help individuals, you know, have that kind of to learn how to be open with their partner. But yeah, the questions, I think the quiz, what you do with your partner, really helps.
Such a great idea, because then also it's kind of, it takes a bit of the emotion out of it, doesn't it? You're both answering the same question.
So you're like, let's just do a quiz. Let's do a quiz night, money quiz night.
And then we can just blame you for whatever happened.
I'll take all the blame.
We'll say, coach told us to do it. All right, Makala, I'm going to say good night to you now. We'll let you go.
Thank you.
So many nice comments. Excellent session. People are buying the book.
Thank
you guys for being here, and thanks for sharing so much with us. We know it's not easy.
Oh no, it was a lovely evening. Thank you all for sharing all of your, you know, money affirmations and financial affirmations. I hope that you go on and just build upon it. If you get the book, it will obviously cement a lot more than that. But yeah, I wish you all the best with your financial journeys. And I'm here whenever you need me.
Yeah. We've shared the link for your Instagram and everything. So thank you for being here.
No, you're most welcome. It was a pleasure.
I will say goodbye to you. Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Guys, for everyone who's still here, thank you. I hope you learned something tonight. I sure did. Hope you like my vision board. Great session. Hey, it's so nice to talk to someone like that about cash and also the kind of, the feelings we have around it, because they're massive. And the stuff about the kind of partners or friends, like money can be such a source of trouble as well as enjoyment as well, right? I'm glad you all enjoyed it so much. I think David's done all the link drops, hasn't he? We've got everything we needed. So affirmations done, links shared. Our next author event is going to be May the 3rd or 4th after the bank holiday. And that's all about energy. We're going to be learning how to manage our energy. And that's kind of with regards to what we eat and our lifestyle and lots of exciting stuff like that. Next week's Monday Club is going to be a watch party, and we're going to be watching The Wisdom of Trauma, which is that documentary with Gabor Mate. Brilliant documentary, and that is actually watchable by donation. So we're going to share the link for that 48 hours before the Monday Club. Donate whatever you can afford. It goes towards the foundation that Gabor Mate is head of. So we'll be sharing more information on that. Down to Earth Money Chat, big tick. Yes, MK, awesome. I think that's it from me. So thank you guys for being here. Off to make my own vision board. Yes, I'd love to see all your affirmations, your financial vision boards, all that kind of stuff. I need to go and now put price tags on my yellow convertible. Don't tell my purple Peugeot. Nice to see you guys. Thank you for being here. This will be recorded and I will share it on the platform so you can revisit at any time. Have an awesome evening. Take care, guys. Bye.